I'm in need of $500 worth of pennies. Is that something you could help me with?
Just how hard is it to get your hands on 50,000 pennies? The answer, much harder than you think it is. You see, me and Nathan have a dream, and that's to find the 1943 $2.3 million penny. This is one of the rarest pennies in the entire world. So to find this penny, it's going to take some substantial planning if we don't want to search for the rest of our lives. So after thinking about this for a little bit, we decided to take out a large sum of our savings in the form of pennies and search through each and every one of them and hope that we come across it. In the end, we decided to take out $500 as an initial investment to help get us started. We figured we'd go over to the bank, grab the pennies, and be well on our way. Easy enough, right? We could not have been more wrong.
Let me make a few calls real quick and see what we got going on, all right? They said they could do 200 pennies per consumer account. I believe the other branches would probably be the same. They could probably give you about $200 worth of pennies as well. And it sounds like maybe you'd have to go to a third branch to get, $100. Or not 100 pennies.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for your help. I really appreciate it.
So let's pick that apart. He said that consumer accounts can take out 200 pennies each. He then follows that up with telling us the other branches would be able to do just about the same amount and that we'd be able to get $200 from the other branches as well. Then says that we'd have to go to a third branch to get the remaining $100. So after this phone call, it was looking extremely favorable for us and that we'd probably have all of our pennies by the end of the day. So armed with that knowledge, it was time to head to our first bank.
We have a question for you. We asked about taking out a couple $100 worth of pennies, and they said that a consumer account could do 200 worth of pennies.
So it's only going to be 2 rolls, just because we order enough supply of our coins for business.
Is there a way that we could order something? They would not give us the $200 of pennies. That was so lame. We literally called the support to ask for the pennies, and apparently they thought we meant 200 pennies total, not $200. They ended up giving us 8 rolls total?
8 more.
So that's $4 more. So we only need
$994 more.
Okay. We're going to see what we can get. So we were just driving by the Wells Fargo, and I thought we might as well stop. They literally were locking the doors as we pulled up. I tried to open the door, and I didn't realize they were locked. They had closed like 2 minutes before we got there. But I talked to the lady at the door. She wouldn't even open the door to talk to me. And I just said, hey, we're looking for $500 worth of pennies, 50,000 pennies. She's like, I could probably get you $10 of pennies on Monday. Okay. Honestly, though, I might just go back to get the $10 of pennies, although it wouldn't surprise me if they can't even do that. So we have one more bank to try at this point. This one is semi-promising because they told us we could get $50 of pennies here, which there were some miscommunications earlier. We think that there is not a miscommunication here. So we will update you as soon as we find out.
So after failing bank after bank, we finally started heading to our final destination. We've made it to our last bank. We had high hopes because we were thinking we were able to get at least $50 worth of pennies from this bank. We walked in the bank and were met with yet another very long line. So we put ourselves in line and waited. Luckily, halfway through the line, there was a cookie jar. So we decided it was a good time for a cookie break. While we were eating our cookies, I started thinking about how we had failed at 2 other banks already that day, and we only had $4 worth of pennies in total to show for the last several hours of work. And I started to feel a little bit discouraged. But then I started looking around the room and I saw a sign that read, "We believe every penny counts." And reading that filled me with a new energy, knowing that the penny gods were smiling down upon us. After finally getting to the front of the line, we handed the phone off to our professional videographer and went up to the stand. All right, we hit up our last bank, finally found some success and got $50 worth of pennies. This is about 10% of what we need.
Yeah, we definitely have some more planning to do. We need to figure out some other options because this is way harder than I expected. I am honestly shocked that it's this hard to take my own money out of the bank.
The amount of weird and shocked faces we've gotten when we've said, we want to take $500 out in pennies. And they're like, what?
It's looking a little bleak, honestly. We were out for 3 hours and got $50. That's not bad.
Yeah.
But better than nothing.
After getting the pennies back home safe and sound, the next day Nathan agreed to go to 3 or 4 more banks along his way to work. But unfortunately, none of them panned out and we weren't able to get a single cent from any of those banks. So then we asked if we could put in an order for 50,000 pennies, and we were met with a resounding no. The only people that were allowed to order such large quantities of pennies were businesses that would actually end up using them. Interestingly enough, they asked Nathan if he was a coin collector. He said no, because that's not what we are. We're just searching through them, it was clear that they were like wary of coin collectors, because it sounds like people take out very large sums of pennies, search through them, and then bring them all right back, which is exactly what we were planning on doing. So before they got the order approved, they called the bank manager over, and he was like, you cannot bring these back at all. I don't care what you do with it, just don't bring it back to my location. So with that stipulation, we got the order placed, and we were told we would only need to wait a week and a half to 2 weeks. The 2 weeks passed very quickly, and suddenly 2 weeks became 3 weeks. It started to look really bad because I was about to leave for my second semester of college, and that would leave Nathan with 50,000 pennies to count by himself. So we were really hoping that they would get in before I left. When the 3 weeks had passed, I had 5 days before I left, and day after day passed. 4, 3, 2, no call or anything. My last day at home before I go back to college, the phone finally starts ringing. The bank had just received the money order, and we were finally clear to pick them up, and that we did. After loading them all into our house, here's what that looks like.
This is how many pennies we've already gone through, and this is how many we have left to do.
And that's how hard it is to get 50,000 pennies. It took us a little over a month to get our hands on them. A lot of convincing and a lot more work behind the scenes than we were able to show. Now the next step is me and Nathan sorting through every single one of these pennies. On our shorts channel, we're running a challenge where every day we look at as many pennies as we have subscribers. So if you want to help us get through these pennies faster, go sub on that channel, and while you're at it, sub on this channel too. Now that we've done how hard is it to get 50,000 pennies, then we're going to do a video that's counting 50,000 pennies or looking through them. I'm thinking the third video is how hard is it to get rid of 50,000 pennies, because it's going to be a struggle in of itself. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is that a video that you think you'd like to watch? As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Just getting to this point in the video has already helped us out so much.
Like, we only need them for 4 days, then we can bring them back. That's the funny thing is, we're like going through this whole hassle to get all these coins. We're literally going to look through them, bring them right back.